All right, y'all. Your girl is out and about, and I'm in these streets. But y'all, let me make an observation, or it goes back to that word of out of the mouth of babes. So I'm out and about. I'm waiting on. I'm gonna go see Superman, y'all. I just had to run a couple of errands, and I thought, you know what? Let me break my brain from work and just get a reset. Sometimes it's therapeutic for me to just get out and just drive around. You know what I mean? Just get some fresh air, ride around in your neighborhood or in your town so you can see maybe some stuff going on. Again, just to get your mind out of the mode that you're in. And I've shared with y'all the past 2 to 3 months. So I've work mode. But anyway, but I tell the Lord thank you. But in my comings and goings, I'm gonna call this video 20 seconds. 20 seconds. And I'm gonna tell you, the Lord is so awesome, and I'm gonna tell you, I learned so much from just children, just from listening and observing. So now here it is. And by the way, y'all, when y'all probably already know this, when your theater upgrades to these luxury seatings, if you will, with the leather recliners and all that, yeah, you better get your tickets, because that's reserved. You have to buy the seat that you want. It ain't like you just buy a seat in regular theaters and you go sit down. Oh, no ma'am, no ma'am. You better buy your ticket for the seat that you want to sit in. So anyway, so again, like I said, I'm here just waiting on my movie to start. So I've already gone in and got my ticket, right? So I went to the restroom, and of course, there's different times and different movies going on, and you know, there was people standing waiting in line, you know. So anyway, this lady was in there with her child, and she was washing her hands. Now the child was washing her hands, and I guess the mother thought that she wasn't moving quick enough. In other words, you know, you try to hurry your kids along just to be considerate of other people trying to utilize, you know, the amenities. But let me just share this with y'all. Let me just share this little tidbit. It's almost like that lesson I learned about that little girl in that nail salon. Ooh, y'all have to go back and watch that video years ago. So the mother said, yeah, hurry up, you got people waiting. And so the little girl looked up and she said, well, Mom, I'm washing my hands for 20 seconds. Because that's what we were taught at school. And of course, you know, I thought about that. I said, you know what? During COVID, that was a reminder as well, that you're supposed to wash your hands for 20 seconds to make sure that any bacteria, you know, is washed and cleaned off. And same way with brushing your teeth. You're supposed to brush your teeth for 2 minutes. Is it 2 minutes? Yeah, 2 minutes, I think. Just like I can remember my father used to tell me, you know, you're supposed to chew your food 32 chews before you swallow it. Well, a lot of us don't do that. But now my dad was a stickler for that. Now he used to chew his food and for 32 chews. But anyway, so when she said that, it was just like her mom was like, I almost got stung by her response. And then she said, well, just hurry up. And I said, I was behind them. I said, ma'am, no rush. You know. And as I was walking, you know, I did wash my hands. And as I was walking out, and I came back in here and sat down, I said, let me do a quick video, because isn't that the truth, y'all? And I got to thinking about that thing. I said, you know, we don't realize as adults, as parents, how we can confuse a child. Because Here it is. They go off to school and they learn science, math, history, arithmetic, all that stuff. Arithmetic is math, but y'all know what I'm saying. And they learn all of these rules and how things should, because I even think about, I can remember back in the day when I would take Lauren to school or pick her up, and they line up the kids all on the wall, and they had to follow each other, and they had to put their finger in front of their mouth, so as a reminder that everybody be quiet, when you're walking down the hall. And there's structure, there's order. And I thought, that little girl was just doing what she was taught and doing what she was told. Now, granted, I understand that was her mama, and I get it. Don't miss what I, trying to say. I understand that the parent was trying to hurry her along to be courteous of us who were waiting in line. Some people were waiting in line to use the bathroom, but I got to thinking about that thing, and I thought, I can remember some years ago too, when you're just out and about, and we've all been a witness to that. We've all been a witness to that, where we've been out and about. I've done it. I've been guilty of it. Our children go off to school and they're taught to do this and do that. But then when they get home, it's like we throw all that out. And we're rushing them, or we're telling them something different. And so now the child is confused, and that's why when our children would sting us and say, well, Mom, you did it. And we said, we'll say, I'm not saying in all situations, in all circumstances, because we are the adult. And what is that cliche response we get? Because I said so. You do what I tell you to do. Don't worry about what I do. You do it because I said so. And we understand that implies too that maybe you're still too young to handle picking up something that's heavy that can either fall on you or hurt you. So a lot of that implies that, because I know children like to do stuff grown folk do, and they don't have the skills set to do it yet. So that is when those type of responses are applicable. But isn't it the truth that our children are looking at us and we'll say, hurry up, don't do that, don't worry about doing that. And so in the sense of hurriedness, we pretty much are telling our children to throw caution to the wind. Whereas in the world of work, at school, later on in middle school, later on in high school, even later on in college, those things become extremely important. And even though even though that might seem simple to a lot of people, but we know germs will kill you, or germs can become viral and your child can become sick, or you can become sick. And some of this stuff that's floating around here in these days, baby, you get a hold of it, ain't too much you can do but ride it out. And you might be sitting up in a hospital for some months, honey, because your body perhaps don't have the immunity and the immune system, rather, to fight that off. But I mean, like I said, I just thought about it. I thought, oh my God. So that little girl was saying, well, but Mom, I'm washing my hands for 20 seconds. You're supposed to wash your hand for 20 seconds. I'm trying to get the germ. And you know how children are. They can be a little bit slow and meticulous. But I understood what that little girl was saying. And so, my takeaway from that is 20 seconds. 20 seconds is the difference between, again, in this particular situation, she wanted to make sure she cleaned off all those germs. And when you think about it, that's all it takes. But don't we do that in life? Don't we do that in life to people and to ourselves? We will throw caution to the wind, and all it takes is 20 seconds. All it takes is for us to stop, hit the pause button, and say, you know what? Let me think that through a little longer. Let me ponder on that a little longer before I just jump out there with a knee-jerk reaction or a knee-jerk, because, I'm trying to hurry the situation. We don't let time have its perfect work in our life. We want everything done right now, right quick. 20 seconds. 20 seconds can be the difference between death or life. Isn't that the truth? Don't they tell us? That's why they say, look, when you hear that ambulance or that siren on a police car coming through, move over. You never know. Those extra 20 seconds will be the difference between someone living or dying or getting the help that they need. It's a thin line, isn't it? And I just wanted to share that with you, because sometimes we know that, yeah, there's an urgency in some situations in life. We understand that. But we also need to understand 20 seconds. 20 seconds is all that is required to keep germs from manifesting on you or wash them away. And again, and again, I know it sounds simplistic, and y'all want to make a situation serious and deep, but that thing just hit me, because I thought, you know what? How many times have I thrown caution to the wind because I didn't want to wait, or I was impatient? And we know what the word says, when you're impatient, that works your trials and tribulations in your life. Not saying that we all won't have them, but my God, that I got to thinking about that thing. 20 seconds. So I know the lesson for me is, don't throw caution to the wind. Take the extra precaution to protect yourself, whether it's protecting your, again, biological, whether it's protecting your peace, whether it's protecting your surrounding. Take the extra precaution. And when it boils down to it, haven't we all said, dog, if I had just waited, if I had just thought about that a little while longer, 20 seconds. My God. Anyway, y'all knocking Joe Jack. Anyway, let me head on into the movie theater. It's about another 30 minutes before the show starts. But anyway, I just wanted to share that. Sharing is caring. Anyway, love you. God bless. May the peace of the Lord be with you. Bye, y'all.